All right, a couple of things I just wanted to quickly touch on was obviously PVC repairs in the ground for you guys if you're fixing stuff. We see a lot of the time, telescopic coupling slip fixes being used. Great product. They're a fit for a purpose product, but problems we see with a slip fix, and not everyone may know this, but they should not be used in a mainline situation. So on a lateral only, ideally. You still get people put them in a mainline because that's the way of fixing something for them as well, and that's fine, but it should ideally be used in a lateral. When I say a lateral, is after the valve, so we're downstream of the valve here, we're going off to sprinklers and that sort of stuff. Reason being is because that's not under as much load and pressure, and there's not as much force happening inside that because there's pressure being escaped. They can handle the pressure. It's just that movement that we don't want to happen coming from the network. When we use a slip fix or a telescopic coupling, these ones here this is the dimension of 25. This is a 25 mm slip fix. That's the dimension of the pipe, and that's the dimension of a coupling or a fitting, if that makes sense. So that's a joiner. You can see that's the same internal diameter, whereas that goes on. Okay, so if you had a break in a pipe, and this was, I'll do this here, but if this was a break in a pipe and we had to fix this piece of pipe here, obviously we want to clean our pipe up and what have you, we would prime the pipe with our pipe cleaner and prime our fittings as well. Using a glue point, we obviously glue that fitting into this side, and then we would glue our coupling in on this side as well. That might have been a T or an elbow already sitting there that we can go into. In this situation, we're fixing a broken bit. So we've cut that out. We put our coupling on here, and we want to slide that fitting back into our pipe, if that makes sense. And effectively, if you were primed and that was in your break, that's your repair join done. One thing that's critical with a telescopic joiner though is we don't want to see that is your repair. And what I've done there is I've only, see how that was half extended? We really want that all the way out. And so what we do there is if we had this, we would know, in the ground, obviously we can try to sort of test how far we're going to be with our connection. Obviously we're going to come inside to here, what I mean? We're going to cut that pipe, then we bring that back, clean all that pipe up with our markings, do our prime, and slide that through so we're extended. We want to get that to fully extended as much as possible. The reason being is it acts like a shock absorber otherwise, because if you've extended, the pipe's rigid and it's like normal pipe. Whereas if you're halfway, as pipe pressures are moving and water's happening, what's happening is your pipe's doing this in the ground and you don't know it, and then obviously that's just wearing a rubber seal that's meant to not be always moved. Or you tend to see things like, and I won't be able to do it, I haven't got the force, but that start to bow, and then bang, you've split it here or it's failed again. So just if you are using slip fixes, be aware, fully extend, and then you're good to go. All right.
So that directional?
No, non-directional. No. So contrary to some people feel that, like, obviously that goes that way. When I've spoken to the manufacturers, they're like, no, providing it's an extended fitting, it's fine. Yeah, they said if you can't extend it, like you're hard up and you just can't do it, they said they want to sort of make sure you can kind of pack that to stop it from trying to move, or pack the fittings at the end, so then that's not allowing that T to sort of be bowing out and what have you. But yeah, from a directional standpoint, no. Because I asked the same thing, because we used to get people say, I've been told it's directional and what have you, but they said if it was, we would be putting a flow arrow on them. So, yep. When we do main lines, and I guess and other PVC fittings, these are great. The next step up, and I think actually cheaper, pretty sure they're cheaper, is a compression coupling. I don't know if you guys have used the compression couplings before. They make them in was it cast iron as well in the bigger sizes once you go to 80mm PVC and that sort of stuff, but these are a great unit. These are a Watermark approved product as well that will allow you to fix your main lines, and as you can see there's no flexible movements here, it's just O-ring joins that we're working with here as well. So if we were doing a join in this situation, we would just back this one off a little bit and we would slide our pipe over that, and we do this collar up as tight as we can, and that grabs that pipe. Then we would obviously, and this is where the slip fixes are great because you can obviously move it, but we would then have to fix here. Now in this situation, yeah, great, I can do that, but if that was in the ground, I can't. So what we would then have to do is I'd get my coupling, and because these are an internal barrel, as you can see they go all the way through, there's no sort of stop on them, is I get a piece of pipe that's effectively can go inside that, if that makes sense. So I get it like almost like you would, I guess, treating it like a slip fix a little bit. You get a piece of pipe and we would slide that pipe in, glue that coupling on, and then pull that pipe back into that fitting and then do that compression coupling up.
They don't need to join in the middle there, the pipes?
No, they don't need to touch in the middle. You just need to get them past, you need to have them past that O-ring. You don't want them halfway on the O-ring, you want to get them through the O-ring. Yeah, that's correct.
So you could also then just, if you had like a hole for the pipe, you could just cut like a couple of inches out, flex it up, push that on too far and then pull it back.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So that's because it's like a slip coupling effectively. Yeah, you're right. If you got enough that you could get in there and do like leverage that up, slide that along the pipe, obviously clean it up, and then bring it back across, do it up. And then that's your brake was effectively in here, if that makes sense. And you just, or you could leave the brake in there if you could get it over it enough. Like if it was just an open crack or something. Yeah, definitely. So that's your main two PVC fixes, obviously, other than just straight up couplings and that sort of stuff. I tend to prefer the compression coupling as far as there's other councils now that have gone down the path of slip fixes are not to be used in any situation, and only these. And honestly, I think it's a little bit, it's extreme. Yeah, that's right. You love them. Yeah, and I think there's still a strong place for them. Like I wouldn't go as far as saying that they're not to be used. I think we sell heaps of them, and they're a great product. You just, I guess the key is knowing how to use them properly, not just get them halfway and go, yeah, that's good. Again, as we were talking about before with, reusing bloody wire joiners and whatever else, sometimes you've gone, oh, it's glued, and that's not fully extended. That's already, and you've used a fast set glue or something, you're like, I'm not pulling that apart and throwing that in the bin. I'm going to deal with that. But when I say that, just try and make sure that as you're backfilling and whatever, that you are trying to retain some level of movement as much as possible, because we just don't want, I've gone to sites and you've seen, pipe that might have been on the ground and it's doing that because that's starting to, you're just giving it more distance now, so it's something wants to bow. So yeah.